Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chudushumme, washbale, ohayo, gozaimasu. Guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasahlan, marhaba, buna mucho gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya. Hoş geldin and ayo sayo, khuyamora, chi vatto, chi hal jod, kali mehra khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha, Rehan. I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. It's a fine Thursday, hot morning over here in Islamabad. But ladies and gentlemen, let me ask her a question. So just yesterday, we learned a new good morning. Can you recall it?
Oh, the one that Tatiana told us?
Yes.
No, I believe that you nailed the pronunciation, so why don't you do the pronunciation?
Well, I think it's a good try, but I'm not going to fall for it. But how are you, Eesha?
I'm doing absolutely great, and after Pakistan's glorious victory, our spirits are high, but so are heat wave levels. Let's get into the story of how the Pakistan Meteorological Department has predicted the first heat wave of May 2025 is expected to affect the country over the next 3 to 4 days. Daytime temperatures are likely to remain from 4 to 6 degrees Celsius above the normal southern half of the country, including Sindh, southern Punjab and Balochistan from today until May 20th. The Westerly weather systems is expected to enter the upper parts of the country on May 19th. Hot and dry weather prevails across most parts of the country, with very hot conditions reported in the plains.
Wow. And not just that, I think for everybody who's out there, please make sure that you keep yourselves hydrated, people, because that's most essential. Please make sure that you keep some sort of water out there for the birds, the flora and the fauna. So look after, for everybody who's around you. Not just that. Imagine that, we've got our hands on the climate change puppets too as well. And the team behind the Little Amal, the giant puppet of Syrian girl that traveled throughout the world, has embarked on an ambitious project creating hundreds of life-size wooden animals, puppets, to raise awareness on the climate crisis. Wow, wonderful. I mean, I don't know how making puppets out of wood will actually help climate change, but I think that's a great initiative. The initiative is called The Herds and includes puppets of wildebeest, zebras, gorillas, and giraffes. And sadly, the purpose is to raise more awareness. That's wonderful. Not just that, very quickly. Wow, I mean, the puppets look great as well. I think takes a lot of
effort and time and energy.
Yeah, not just that. I think creativity. That's what I wanted to say. But thank you so much for giving me words which I never needed. But it's wonderful. Sorry, Eesha, this is going to happen. We'll have to get used to it. But Pakistan Super League resumes, ladies and gentlemen, from the 17th of May till 25th of May as well. And the Pakistan Cricket Board has released updated ticketing information for the remaining 8 PSL 10 matches. So please make sure that you get your tickets. I think that the most important aspect over here is that this is where we show our solidarity with the entire nation. We go and we check it and we make sure that, that we are together. And I hope that, one day Yusuf Bhai could do the wires just right. and in addition to this, I think they're furthermore, I would want to kind of speak about Pakistan Super League, and it's because of the fact that several foreign players have confirmed their participation in the remaining Pakistan Super League matches. Samba United announces Rasi Wonder Dusan and Alex Hales. And just very quickly, obviously looking at the points table, Quetta Gladiators at the top of the points table with 13 points, which means that they've qualified. Multan is out. And after 26 out of 34 matches of the Pakistan Super League, Quetta Gladiators, since they're on the top, Karachi Kings are second, Samba United are third, Lahore Qalandars are fourth, Peshawar Zalmi are fifth, and Multan Sultan is pretty much out of the tournament. But very quickly, kind of finishing it over here, ladies and gentlemen, the best part is that the remaining 4 teams, other than Quetta and Multan, are still pretty much in the game. So we'll still have to see. It's not going to be a dead rubber. It's going to be a fascinating contrast of people and teams coming together.
That was very exciting to hear, and we are glad that PSL is resuming. Now moving forward to how, Pakistan, in Pakistan, we love our families, which is why we are so happy to announce that International Day of Families is being observed every year on 15th May to raise awareness about family issues and promote appropriate action to improve their standing and well-being in society and strive to enhance the living standard of social progress. The day was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993, which stated that the annual observance reflects on the importance which the international community attaches to families as basic units of society, as well as its concern regarding their situation around the world. Families will spotlight the pivotal role of family-oriented policies in advancing sustainable development.
Wow. I think that's wonderful. Eesha, it's so great and amazing to see how you're actually contributing towards our, international audiences and local audiences, and how much you love your family, which is why you're observing the International Day of Families today. But to talk about all of this, ladies and gentlemen, and how there needs to be policies on national level which actually are integrated, which are thoughtful processes with which our future generations would eventually know, okay, that these are the things my mother and my father used to do, my brothers and sisters used to do, and we're really need to follow that so that we could protect our motherland. And to speak about all of this, we're very lucky that we have been joined by the most energetic doctor I've ever come across all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, she is Dr. RUBIA Usman, who happens to be a medical consultant. Hello, Dr. RUBIA. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. Forget about my energy. Your energy is so contagious that every time I come here, I feel energized.
Thank you so much for saying that. But today, when you walked into the studio, I was like, okay, I might not be feeling very energetic, but since it's Dr. RUBIA, I'll have to put in extra effort. So we're at it. But first things first, let's take a, I would want you to kind of share your thoughts about, us observing International Day of Families and how it needs to be.
I think the best part is, and we must say this today, we're coming out of a really stressful and a really unprecedented time that we hadn't even thought that could happen and was going to happen to us. And suddenly, our generation, who's never really properly experienced, we had to experience a war of all the things in the world. And now coming from that, we should use all of that energy and work towards exactly what you said, sustainable development goals. Exactly. And that is achieved through not just through family, through an individual practice as well. So it's a little bit of both, if you think about it, it's us individuals together which make a family unit, and we have to work together to make a better Pakistan. Simple as that. And having said that, what better time? Because right now we're all like, you know what, we're going to do something for our country, we're going to make it better, we're going to fix everything. And I think this is the best time to talk about International Families Day.
Exactly, that was very well put together. So how do you suggest that we move forward with this? What healthcare policies can we introduce? Is it revolving mental health care? Is it regarding paternal care, maternal care? And what about children and how they're going to survive in this growing era of climate change?
Yeah. so all of that, Eesha, believe it or not. So one of the SDGs is actually about health and well-being, and the part of health and well-being that UN also wants us to focus on is vaccination. So I must stress the importance of that, because that is something that has to be kind of like incorporated in our every single moral fiber of being, because we can't be the country anymore that is still lagging behind in eradicating polio. We cannot be that country anymore. You know what? We need to get cracking now. So part of all of this sustainable health is this, that you get your kids vaccinated, and that's part of a family unit. Soon as you decide, you get married. Two individuals get married, come together, make a family. You have your parents, you have your children coming next. You have to plan for their future. You want to build a house, you want to keep them safe. Similarly, you want to give them health. So to give them health, you need to get them vaccinated. Second aspect about maternal health. So that comes with the children's health as well. So if the woman is healthy, if her health and well-being is good, the unborn child is going to be healthy, and later on the born child is going to be healthy. So this is all interconnected, obviously, and this is all part of the greater scheme, really.
Exactly, and not just that. I think for us to kind of unfortunately not experience how national policies must have been integrated within countries which we speak about or we give reference of, and looking at the developing countries. So in that context, how do you think Pakistan as a developing country can now actually come to the forefront of creating national policies and putting them in place with 100% implementation, where they learn about demographic shifts, urbanization, migration, climate change, so that the future generations already know. Now for us to kind of adopt to climate change and global warming, there has been a debacle and an argument, it's La Nina or Na Nina, whether it's climate change or not, so I think we have struggled quite a lot.
And also we have to remember, Shahzad, that we're very young. We're only like what, 70, 80 years old. So we just came into being these countries have been there for gazillions of centuries. They've ruled half the world. So honestly, to compare us with them is a little bit unfortunate. I mean, when we look at how far we've come in these 75 to 78 years, I think they've done amazing. We're pretty legit amazing. We have survived 3 wars. I don't know how many, I've lost count now, it's probably more than 3 now. But the fact that I'm trying to say is
one,
that we have
not even survived.
Yeah, exactly. So we have gone and we have grown as time has sort of let us. With regards to that, we are still lagging behind in gender equality at work. So that is, I think, what we need to focus on now. Everywhere in the world, I won't compare us with the developed worlds because they're like completely different domain, but if we compare us with other developing worlds, the difference is that everybody works. So all the members of the family are working. So women are working, elderly women are working, young women are working, everybody's working. Over here, the problem is that we, due to cultural norms, not religious norms, cultural norms, we tend to keep women at home. And I think that's where we're lagging behind. But fortunately, I will give you a positive spin on that as well. If you see on Instagram, my food comes from women entrepreneurs, my clothes come from women entrepreneurs.
Mashallah.
So these are small local businesses, from cheese to clothes to whatever. So these are the women that we need to promote, who set up a business from their home, build it from scratch or nothing. And now they're employing other people perhaps.
Exactly.
Because now they have a delivery guy who's going to deliver the cheese to me in Islamabad, and he's coming all the way from Lahore.
True.
So all of that is also going on.
So Dr. Saab, now you know where everything is coming from, I think, for you to kind of ask. But the question of where it is, I'm sorry that I'm bringing it in as well. You know, because I've seen my father kind of, you know, having that argument with my mother. And that's like, you know, you spend so much on clothes, you know, and then eventually वो एक टाकी नजर आती है घर में, तो अब्बू कहता है यार ये वो तुम्हारा सूट नहीं था, you know, so where so you know your clothes come from all the women entrepreneurs, where do they go? You know, I think that's the question that we really need to ask,
that is
because you're
beautiful.
talking about sustainability.
Yes, and that is exactly, that is so true. So it shouldn't be fast fashion. So अच्छी बात ये कि in our country there's no such thing, because our clothes go through generations of use.
Yes.
So first we use them, then our cousins and friends and family members use them, then their daughters or somebody uses them, then the house help uses them, then the house help's kids use them. So by the time it becomes a taki, it's gone through 7 generations. Really.
Exactly.
But also, having said that, slow fashion, re-wearing the same clothes, this is something people like us should promote. So working women who are in a position of power, who people are looking up to, we should be wearing the same clothes again. We should be repeating outfits. We should make it look like this is normal. This is not anything unusual. So yeah, it's little things that everybody can do on an everyday basis, really.
Exactly, and thank you so much for saying that, because you know that's the correct aspect to look at it. Now imagine that we're talking about sustainable development, but sustainable development cannot take place until and unless we make sure that we consume a little lesser than what we have been consuming. I think other than national policies, because certainly to speak about national policies, we need somebody from the government to kind of come over here and speak about it. Let's speak about how parents now need to inculcate the mega trends into their children. I mean, I've been trying quite a lot. I've probably, you know, as parents, what we can do is that I've provided them with whatever technological platforms they can be out there, may it be laptops, iPads, phones, or whatsoever. But now they have to sit down and kind of look for, you know, what's out there, rather than playing Roblox the entire day. How do you think, as us parents, you know, we need to tell them, bete, you know, दुनिया जो है internet की, वो Roblox से बाहर भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं.
And I think that's like the good parenting bit where that comes in, isn't it? But it's not just about being a good parent. You have to also recognize that, like with the extreme in climate now, I don't remember struggling to play outside because of heat. I don't realize that, is it because it wasn't hot those days? But obviously I'm very ancient, so it might have been very, very many years ago. Or maybe it was just that we were allowed to play out because of safety and security. The fact is that we are also holding our kids back. We don't have parks, we need to focus on that. We don't have recreational facilities where we can take them. Most of our recreational facilities are indoor activities. So it's stuff where we can go and play inside, again, in air-conditioned environment. So we're not really got any fresh air, fresh activities going on. I think our hills are really good. We should, but for that, I think it has to start from home. Children learn from their parents. So I work out every single day, and at some point, one of my kids will hopefully, inshallah, do the same.
Yeah, Mama Kareen, you know, I need to go too.
So I think it's that. You just need to set some examples for them. We focus so much on showing them how to pray 5 times a day. We should also focus them to eat healthy, as well as like to manage their time well, sleep on time, wake up on time, to have a healthy lifestyle really.
Exactly. Speak about climate change with them, you know, global warming with them, or tell them, you know, about urbanization and how it takes place. I think that's our sole responsibility. Eesha.
And you know how I want to focus on how we can help the children reconnect with nature. I feel like in our schools and in our social well-being, we do not connect with nature. I remember in my time, we only used to have one sports lesson throughout the week. No, that was 10 years ago when I was in school. We only used to have one sports lesson a week, right? And when my mom would tell about her morning assemblies, how they would have a proper PT periods every day. In the morning, they would have to do particular exercises. So that was lacking for my generation.
And we didn't want you to do that.
Really?
Because it was every day. You know, you cannot do it in May. In the month of May, and you know, certainly, you know, I think in every assembly 2 or 3 boys would pass out. PT karte गिर गए.
Yeah, that is true. I remember those days as well.
Yeah, so I think once PT period was fine. Like, sir, this is other PT na कराएं.
Yeah, other than that, I also feel like schools should introduce the curriculum of gardening. That is a basic life skill, you know, like growing food, learning about plants, the habitat and the flora and fauna around us. So that needs to be like a very pertinent part of our syllabus and curriculum.
Not just that, if you think about it, kids are so amazing, and you, Shahzad, will reiterate this. They are so good. My children come and teach me. A lot of times they'll say something and I'll be like, oh, acha, ye bhi hota hai kuch. So like about like, you know, going green, for example. I have learned most about going green from them, because they were being being taught that in their school in England and still here in Pakistan as well. One of the things I will commend Pakistan for, well before the developed world did this, Pakistan swapped all the plastic bags for the paper bags or the cloth bags. So I will say that we have done a lot more than other countries even have thought and imagined. And then water bottles, that should be the next step. So I think a lot of children nowadays are aware of this. They are aware of the fact that we should not use plastic, we should reuse it rather than just single use and throw it away. And a lot of food materials are being packaged in sustainable things as well. So most of the containers are now environment friendly as well. So these are the little bits I think everybody is doing. It's just that we need to give us time as well.
Exactly, and I think we have all the time now. Now it's time for action as well, and you know the action speaks louder than words, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much, Dr. RUBIA, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. And Dr. Saab, now you know where all the stuff is coming from. I think that's great. Yes, what do we have next, Eesha?
All right, so we have a very fun and cute story regarding how a Japanese corgi police training dog stole a sausage from a little child during the parade. So, okay, let's get into the story. China's first corgi police dog has captured public attention after it snatched a sausage while on patrol duty. The 1.5-year-old pooch named Fuzzy, which means lucky boy in Mandarin, was caught on a video snatching a grilled sausage from a child's hand before casually waddling away. Later, the dog's trainer apologized online and said the sticker food refusal training will be approved to the corgi. The dog also visited the girl at the kindergarten with its trainers, where they gave her Fuzzy-themed gifts and a kite. How
I mean, so that's
adorable,
such a cute story. Wow, I mean, I don't know. So then what happened with the dog then later on?
You know, I'm pretty sure Fuzzy stole the sausage to confiscate it for police duty.
Wow, I think that's wonderful. You know, baad mein bhook lag sakti hai. But all right, certainly, you know, they might not have those biscuits we have, you know, the
dog training them.
Yeah, but all right, now I think, ladies and gentlemen, because we've been really amazing at giving away, you know, film recommendations. So we have another film recommendation. First of all, I'm going to take you back in time. I don't know if you guys still remember, you know, the flying cranes. You know, it was on World War. It was an older film. It was loved by our audiences as a recommendation. So today, Mr. Sajeel Dogar has actually put up another movie recommendation for all of our viewers out there. Go ahead, take a good look, and once you will come back, we have something other than that too as well to share with each and every one of you.
If you're drawn to war dramas that blend suspense, strategy, and the human cost of conflict, The Star is a film you shouldn't miss. Set in the summer of 1944, it follows a group of Red Army scouts sent deep behind enemy lines on a critical mission. As they push further into hostile territory, carrying out daring acts of sabotage and uncovering vital intelligence, they soon find themselves battling against overwhelming odds. With enemy forces hot on their heels and a major counteroffensive looming, the scouts hold information that could save thousands if they can get it back in time. Beyond the action, the film captures the quiet bravery, fear, and the sacrifice of soldiers caught between duty and survival, making their story feel both gripping and deeply human. Blending tense action with moments of raw vulnerability, The Star captures both the brutality and the humanity of war. With its gripping narrative, powerful atmosphere, and haunting visuals, this is a must-watch for fans of action, suspense, and war dramas.
Wow, Sajeel, thank you so much for giving us such a wonderful movie recommendation, ladies and gentlemen. The name happens to be The Star. Please make sure that you watch it. If you like, you know, films based on war and enemy lines and whatnot, I think this is most interesting. The question was, Sajeel, when do you get time to watch all of these movies?
With all the work burden. All right, moving on, we have a very special segment to show that our correspondent Rubia Khalid sat down with Professor Rashid Gartard and Ishal Shaukat for an insightful conversation. Professor Gartard was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to humanity, and he continues to support the global humanitarian efforts. Recently, he helped facilitate the graduation of 27 Palestinian medical students from Gaza who completed their studies in Pakistan, and joining him is a 14-year-old Ishal Shaukat, an emerging advocate for social change in Pakistan. Let's see how the interview entailed.
Hello everyone, this is Rubia Khalid, and today I'm joined by very honorable guests, Professor Gartard and Ishal Shaukat.
The one with the Queen, yeah? The OBE, which is Order of the British Empire. So the work that Ishal is doing is actually phenomenal for a 14-year-old. And she's not only an international woman of the year 2025, which she went to Dubai.
My journey doesn't start from a place of privilege, but it starts from the cries of the hopeless orphans.
Medical students out of Gaza, we've relocated them into various countries. I have to thank the Pakistani government for having looked after and accepted 178 medical students. Only recently, and this is one of the reasons why I came to Pakistan on this occasion, where these girls, they're all girls as it happens, dental students, they all graduated. Very emotional moment.
I think, RUBIA, that was a great piece that we had to share with our audiences as well, so good job. But before we move any further or say any further, ladies and gentlemen, just like RUBIA, us over here, our entire team always make sure that, that we talk about things which are really concerning for our youngsters and for the health of the nation. Now, imagine that, that today's conversation, first of all, I would want to give a verbal disclaimer. Smoking is injurious for health. Please make sure that you stay away from it. And people really need to kind of speak about it on television, even though that the industry is so huge and they spend billions of rupees that, it's hard to kind of get people to speak about it or against it. People who actually speak against it are actually challenged with a lot of problems outside when they step into, a market where they would want to kind of dismay how smoking is not good and, how they would want to involve society. So to speak about it, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined with somebody, happens to be the National Convener, ACT Alliance Pakistan, is Mr. MUBASHIR. But, hello sir, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you feeling today?
All well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us, wonderful to have you over here. And sir, you yourself happen to be a convener. I know that it's a difficult job. We have had multiple people come over here who've actually campaigned against smoking and, other, tobacco-related products and whatnot. And they would say that, that we have been life-threatened as well, and there have been issues pertaining to that. Now, sir, what are the major challenges and enforcement of policies? We do see that, that unfortunately the policies do stand. We're an over-legislated country, but, that legislation, it's hard to see that it comes into play. So how do you see it?
So when I usually talk about the issues of the industry, particularly the tobacco industry, it is not by way of promoting the consumption of tobacco. Tobacco in Pakistan is a legal, legitimate sector which is represented by two multinationals, whereas they are competing and rather fighting for their life over the past many years against nearly 40 plus local companies that have been either manufacturing fake products, counterfeiting, or their big wigs are involved in smuggling, or they do not pay taxes. So speaking in a layman's term, these two companies have been paying taxes for the past many years. They are the ones who do not evade tax on a single pack of cigarette that they produce, whereas they have to compete with the people who do not pay or do not believe in any kind of taxation.
True.
So these two companies usually pay around 300 billion rupees of taxes.
We're talking about PTC and British Tobacco?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that I'm naming them, but since they paid their taxes, I think they really need to be appreciated for that.
All right, if you have taken the discussion to that side, I would rather stick to that also. Yes, this is Pakistan Tobacco Company and the other one is Philip Morris International. These two are the multinationals that represent the entire spectrum, nearly the entire spectrum of the companies that pay taxes. So they have the footnote, sorry. So these two companies with 44% of the market share, they pay, during the last fiscal year, they paid almost 292 billion rupees in taxes, whereas those 40 plus local companies, they paid around 5 billion and they have the market share of 56%. So when people like me talk about the industry issue, I have to reiterate again that it is not by way of asking people to smoke more. It is not true by that way. It is only about that the people who pay taxes, they should have a level playing field. They should have a fair competition in the market.
Exactly. So we have touched base with taxes. We do know the companies which actually pay taxes, and we do know the companies which meagerly pay taxes, and they actually have the market share of 56%. Now, that's fair enough. That's one point, and the companies really need to kind of make a move towards that. The government really needs to play its role, and we know where the loopholes are. But sir, other than this, I think, there have been violations of graphical health warnings as well, from the same industry. So how do you look at it?
I am sitting in PTV world, but I think as a citizen of Pakistan, I can have my critical views about about the government
Obviously,
and its constituent institutions. The government has done enough over the past few months, particularly, but not quite enough.
Okay.
There has been a survey by one of the leading public survey organizations in Pakistan, which found that Pakistan's overall cigarette market has around 413 brands which are being sold in the market, out of which 394, which makes around 95.29% of the whole spectrum. So for the ease of discussion's sake, we can say that 96% of the overall brands in Pakistan which are being sold in the cigarette market do not pay taxes in capital letters. So out of these 413 brands, I think this is 286 brands who will not carry any kind of graphical health warning, and all of this is being done in this country for quite some time now, unfortunately.
Exactly, and so where you actually spoke about, how unfortunately, there's been a part of my life where I've been smoking, and I mean, certainly I've given a disclaimer as well before that please make sure that you do not smoke, it's injurious to health. But what I've seen is that I've struggled with how unfortunately within our food market we do know that, how the food that the restaurants have been saying is actually a goat, it wasn't a goat, right? So we've come across that. So now imagine that the same problem seeps in over here, where over here probably if you go to Peshawar, if you go to other remote areas, from far away from Peshawar, we have seen that how people have put in an industry within their own household. It's more like a cottage industry. They make cigarettes over there of the same brand and they sell them in the market, and certainly people are taking a lot of advantage of it and a lot of revenue from it as well. Now, how do you think that this needs to be controlled first of all? एक तो सबसे पहले सिगरेट पीना ही बुरी बात है, उसके बाद सिगरेट आपको मार्केट में 2 नंबर मिल रहा है, जो यहीं पे बनाया है घर पे किसी ने, तो it's more injurious to health then. How do you think that such kind of checks really need to be put in place now? I mean, imagine that if there are companies paying 290 billion rupees of taxes, at least they deserve कि यार हमारी कॉपी तो ना कोई बना के भेजे.
No, they deserve a lot more than that. You probably already know that it was the Prime Minister of Pakistan last year who awarded the top taxpayers award to one of the top officials of Pakistan Tobacco. It is only a matter of the last year. It is not far distant memory. It is very easy to put up a cigarette manufacturing line in this space. We can probably have 3, 4, maybe 5 assembly lines in the space of the studio alone. There is only one thing that government, I think, and the FBR particularly, which already is doing quite a lot over the past 3, 4 months, but they usually do that once the budget is near and the Prime Minister starts to feel the pressure that the state of Pakistan is going to miss its tax collection revenue targets. So this year, I fear as a citizen of Pakistan that government probably will miss this target by 892 billion rupees. And out of this 892 billion rupees, my friend, almost 300 billion rupees are evaded by the illegal cigarette manufacturers and their market. The government needs to do only one thing, and I'll say it 3 times over: enforcement, enforcement, and enforcement. So I have been in discussions with a few officials of the FBR in different roundtables and different social gatherings. You would be appalled, you will be shocked to know that the entire enforcement division of the FBR is manned or staffed, for the sake of a gender neutral term.
Okay.
The enforcement directorate of FBR is staffed by only 76 people.
That's it?
Whereas, in the entire country actually, in the entire country. Whereas the actual requirement of the enforcement directorate to work properly is 100 times over. That is, the FBR's enforcement department directorate must have around 8,000 officials working through the entire country, so that they should be able to recover the tax evasion, not only in the cigarette industry, but there are
so many other
industries which evade tax. Cement is among them, petroleum or lubricants is among them.
It's Pakistanis out there who have been evading taxes as well. So I think everybody needs to kind of come into the tax net, ladies and gentlemen, not only salaried people. Or, I mean, obviously there are examples, we get some amazing examples where people have been paying a lot of taxes as well. But ladies and gentlemen, it's you, me, Eesha, sir over here, and each and everyone's responsibility to pay taxes if we want our country to prosper. And thank you so much, sir, for raising importance of such an important topic, and I'm sure that that within the Prime Minister's office people are actually working on that as well, because imagine that if you miss out on your tax budgets or tax collections, you certainly need to identify which areas you have missed out on. And I think these were a few areas which we tried to highlight today as well. And thank you so much, Bashir Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you, sir, as well. And for whatever views were shared, obviously these are Mubashir Bhatt Saab's views and opinions, you know, as the national convener of ACT Alliance Pakistan. Now, you know, because we've spoken about you know, how we need to raise awareness, how there needs to be International Family Days, and, you know, how we really need to make sure that we integrate, you know, the technological aspects into national policies. We've spoken about all of this. How, as an individual, you can help is something that I would want to talk about now. And Eesha, imagine that this 14-year-old guy, you know, he's been thinking about that a lot of people suffer just because of the fact that they cannot afford prosthetic legs, prosthetic arms, and he thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to make it for them, and I'll make sure that I get in touch with NGOs, and that so that all of those people who are living without arms or, you know, other limbs, that I'm going to create them for, you know, for their ease and give it to them for free, so that they could actually enjoy a better lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. And he was 14 when he got this realization, but now he is an 18-year-old, still a teenager, and working towards the betterment of society, because he viewed how people in Syria and how war-stricken areas, the people of these areas were left without limbs and were left to struggle in their
And
life.
you know, for all of these 30 prosthetics that he's making, ladies and gentlemen, will be sent to children in Gaza. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we have been joined by Mr. Abdullah KHAWAJA. Hello, Abdullah. How are you? Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Hello, assalamu alaikum. How's everyone? How are you guys? Thank you for
Abdullah, we
having
are
me on
great.
the
First
show.
of all, you know, let me tell you, we are really proud of you and the kind of work that you're doing. And when I read your profile and the bio and what you're doing, it's amazing. I would want to clap for you as well.
Exactly.
In fact, I would want to give you a standing ovation. You know, I mean, this much is what my frame allows me to stand. So, Abdullah, please take us through. How did you get started? I mean, we know it.
we
You've
know
sent your
your story.
profile and bio. Let the world know.
Yeah. So basically, at age, let's go back a little while. At age 9, I was really involved with technology and robotics and school competitions, and I started my passion in technology. And me and my father, we volunteer a lot with NGOs, and we go to camps, Syrian refugee camps, Palestinian camps here in Jordan. And we distribute food aid, food parcels to them, especially in Eid and Ramadan. And I saw many children without arms and limbs, and they're missing. And I wanted to at first buy them one. When I went home, I tried to buy them one. But when I saw the cost was $20,000 at the time, it was really expensive, and there were 7 children. So if I wanted to buy for each one, it would cost a lot. I could buy for one, but not for all. So I decided to basically, because of my knowledge, create my own prosthetic arm and try to 3D print my own prosthetic arm, which I later found out to be very difficult, and it took over a year and a half to complete the first prototype. And then since then I developed 3 more prototypes, and now I'm working on the final version of this prosthetic arm. So that's basically how I started. It was really hard, and I started really young, and now I'm 18. So this project has taken 4 years almost now.
Exactly, that's great. And we've mentioned it before as well, that, you know, that you kick-started at the age of 14, and, you know, how, you know, you've figured it out for yourself. You know, so there's a very important aspect to this conversation, that is that you said that because of your prior knowledge, how did you equip yourself with such knowledge at such a younger age of knowing how prosthetics are being made, and then were able to make your first prototype? Now, I do believe that you made 3 or 4 of such
Yes.
prototypes, right?
Yes, correct. So basically, at age 9, our school had robotics clubs, and I participated in Lego robotics clubs. So that's how I developed the first robotics skills that I had in me. And then later on, I discovered computers and worked on coding and 3D modeling. And then actually in Jordan, the Crown Prince of Jordan has his company. He has an initiative which helps children and which helps young adults and young people to develop their ideas. So with their support, their engineers, they taught me about 3D modeling. They gave me more knowledge on prosthetics, and I did my own research at home and searched different prosthetics and different companies and how they work. And I had to not only search how prosthetic works, but I had to look at the medical aspect of how the human hand works, so I can try and mimic the features of a human hand and how I can link my
That's exactly,
prosthetics
Abdullah, what I
with
wanted to ask about.
actually human.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask about, because you know the footages that we're playing of your prosthetics that you've designed has got a lot of wires and sensors in it as well. So it's not just a prosthetic limb, but it's probably going to be a limb which will help me hold a glass, probably do my house chores as well with the same prosthetic limb. So there's a bit of technological aspect to it and there's a bit of medical aspect to it as well. So how did you gather information related to that? And then, you know, somewhere in your profile you said that now you are actually in touch with different NGOs which actually sponsor you and you get them 3D printed and then you put your technology in. You know, so how is it all going so far?
Yeah, so actually, the video you're playing actually is the first prototype which I developed when I was 14, and since then it has evolved a lot, and I'm improving each step of the way. And all the one video you have also, I have it open to show you all the wires, but of course they would be hidden, just to show that it is a mechanical prosthetics that actually works and lets you hold the glass. It can hold up to 3.5 kilos. And yes, referring back to your question, NGOs, I have worked with different NGOs, even Al Khidmat Pakistan, they have come to Jordan and distributed aid. And I'm currently working with an NGO in Canada called Universal Limbs. They are creating 3D printed prosthetic limbs, so I'm helping them integrate my design. And we are planning to send a first batch of 30 prosthetic limbs to Gaza, inshallah soon, so we can test it out. But due to the current restrictions, we have put a hold on that. But I believe on the following months, we would be sending my prosthetic arms to Gaza.
Exactly. And you know, you've mentioned how it is your dream to make factories that produce these limbs and prosthetics at a low cost for people all around the globe, especially in war-stricken areas. So how do you think this will play out in the medical field, and how is this going to impact the lives? You have already impacted a lot of lives. How does it make you feel, and how is it going to impact the healthcare system further?
So basically, the whole goal of my prosthetics, because prosthetics do exist, I'm not the first one to create prosthetics, but I did use new technology and I did try and make the cost lower so more people can afford it in remote areas, and it can be better accessible to people around the world. So referring back to your question, I believe that in the future, I'm still working on the prosthetic arm. I'm still in school as well, so I'm balancing school life and this prosthetics life. So right now I taking a short break, but next month I'm gonna get back to this, and I am I believe that if I have my own company producing these prosthetic arms and having a 3D printed factory creating prosthetic arms, and if we mass produce it, the cost due to economy of scale does decrease. So cost per piece would decrease significantly, and it would make it affordable to NGOs to buy, to actually people who can't afford it and have less money, they can also buy it due to how easily affordable this prosthetic arm is. And how would it impact the medical field? That a lot of people would have accessibility to these prosthetic limbs, which before never imagined they would even have the funding, or never even imagined they would be able to hold a cup of glass, a cup of water again, or brush their teeth. So it's really impactful, and it can definitely help.
Exactly, and not just that. I think other than that, you know, we certainly need to think about people, you know, who have been at the forefront in wars. You know, there have been different situations with different people as well. So I think to think about all of them and being inclusive is something amazing. Since we're talking about mechanical prosthetics, Abdullah, please do let us know, you know, with the advent of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, automated learning, how do you think your prosthetics are going to get better? And since you just spoke that, you know, that you're taking a bit of break for now, and, you know, since you're managing school, you know, you said that you actually look forward to doing your bachelor's, then having your own company, having your own factory, and then probably moving on towards master's and PhD. So your aspirations are great. Please take us through.
Yes, so basically right now I'm in my final year of school, and I have my exams actually today. Even I have an exam after this interview, and basically next month I would be free. So I'm still working on the prosthetic arms project, but I took a short break. I'm not working as much as I should. So next month I'm gonna get back and put a lot of effort in. And my plan is to finish school, then working on this prosthetics. Then I'm actually applied to a university in Germany, and I got accepted. And I would be studying biomedical engineering, which is related to the field of these prosthetics. So I hope to complete my bachelor's, then start my own company in prosthetics, and then further on complete my master's and PhD. So that is my goal, so I can really create an impact in the world and create affordable limbs. And I would like to add that the prosthetic limbs I have created, the benefit of this is on field. If it breaks or a piece breaks, you don't have to send it back to us. You don't have to send it to a technician or anyone. You can have a 3D printer. I'm planning to have is a remote, mobile. You can call clinic or mobile.
And then you can go and just get it fixed as well. So I think this after services, yeah. Thank you so much, Abdullah. We're certainly proud of you because people over here have decided that, that they would want to get married and settle in their life. But, certainly, I wish you best of luck for your PhD, for your prosthetics, and for you.
And thank you so much for being such a shining and vibrant example that good people exist in the world.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. And Abdullah, until next time, we certainly will keep an eye out on your journey as well. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, time now for us to kind of beg for leave, but please make sure that you remember that that's exactly what we started with, International Day of Families, and Abdullah is exactly in the right direction. Until next time, look after yourselves. Allah Hafiz. Good morning.